Tonight, as we continue our reporter roundtable discussion, again joining us are Bob McCarthy from the Buffalo News, Ken Lovett from the Daily News, and Casey Seiler from the Times-Union, and Nick Reisman from the Gannett News Service. Again, guys, thanks for joining me today.
So great to be here.
So this whole week, there's been day after day, tons of joint legislative budget hearings, and a lot of, interesting stuff coming out of them, but mainly a theme of a lot of frustration with the governor's budget cuts. One notable exchange, I would say, was when Judge Ann Fow of the state judiciary, lawmakers came down pretty hard on her because they have failed to cut 10% as the other branches of state government have, and they don't seem to, at this point, plan to take up Governor Cuomo's suggestion of shared pain and shared
cut.
Right.
Yeah, and we all noticed in the governor's budget presentation that it kind of stood out, this sort of scolding, this kind of almost parenthetical scolding that he gave to the judiciary. What Ann Fow has said is that a 10% cut, which is what Cuomo's people have suggested, would be too draconian, would force the closure of certain courts, whereas at the same time the judiciary has been getting very bad press for elements of its spending, and it might be unfair to kind of single this out, but an Albany building that is getting refurbished, and part of that refurbishment includes sort of nice lodgings for the judges when they are when they are in Albany, which is about 70 days out of the year. So it's an unfortunate time to be defending that while at the same time asking for no cuts
and asking for raises. And
yes,
it was very noticeable when Andrew Cuomo said it out of the blue. He thanked Comptroller Tom DiNapoli and Attorney General Eric Schneiderman for doing their part and cutting their budgets, and he said, the same can't be said for the judiciary. And basically, he sounded like he was going to put a letter in their permanent file.
Yeah.
He said, we'll
comment
negatively when we put it in writing.
Did. In the budget proposal, it says, I'm going to send this back to them and say you need to do more.
Yeah, what's interesting is this is the first real fight that Andrew Cuomo is having, and I'm sure he's probably going to have a lot more fights in the next couple of weeks over some of his spending cuts to Medicaid and education and things like that. But this is kind of Andrew Cuomo's chance to show, I'm serious about 10% across the board cuts to everyone. Everyone is going to be sacrificing on this. So it's going to be interesting to watch how he tries to cajole or at least, push the judiciary to, go through with these spending cuts.
And to me, I thought the interesting note from a lot of the hearings this week, whether it was local government or higher education, was it wasn't just the traditional call for restore the money. A lot of the mayors and local officials who spoke, like Mayor Bloomberg, they don't want to be cut, but they said we want mandates